Hello! In this video, I'm going to share a demo of the SAS MCP server and what you can build with it today. It comes packed with over 40 tools spanning the full analytical life cycle. So it really empowers you to utilize the power of SAS Viya like never before. For this, we are making use of this open source project here that contains the SAS MCP server. And for our data, we will be making use of a recently released dataset by Santander AI Lab that augmented a well-known German credit dataset that we can make use of to evaluate good and bad credits. So let's dive right into it. We are kicking things off in Claude Cowork. With this, I have already gone ahead and connected our project folder where I have my Claude MD in there, kind of describing how I want things done. And I have also added my new dataset to that folder. Of course, I have my connection set up in here so that it can connect to SAS Viya directly. You can also take a look at some of the prompt templates if you want to, but I just have the MCP server connected in here. Now I'm just gonna put in my prompt and hit enter. We will see now how it utilizes my Claude MD and a small skill file that will help it guide through the whole process of going from data to an actual insight here. We are asking it to help us build a model to predict the class of credit. So if it's a good or a bad one, it will start off by creating a plan on how to tackle such a multi-step project, making use of that Claude MD and the skill file, and then of course also utilizing the SAS MCP server for trusted tools. Now, it's gonna ask me some clarifying questions here. How far should I take this run? Hey, I wanna go through it end to end. Let's do this. And now it's gonna start going off there. You can see there is not that many rows in that dataset that we got off of the repository, just 1,000 rows. But even with that, we wouldn't want the LLM parsing through 1,000 rows of data. We want to make use of trusted analytics. On the right-hand side, we now can see the progress bar. Of course, first, it's going to make sure that it can connect to SAS Viya and can confirm that it can work with that environment, which it just did. So ready to go. And now it's going to start off by ingesting our local CSV file into SAS Viya here, making use of tools and monitoring the progress throughout. I'm going to shut up here for a moment, letting it do its work and helping it. Now it's running through, moving the data into cast from my local machine, promoting the dataset, and then starting off with profiling the data, making use of SAS data governance behind the scenes. Now the cool thing here is that this run can take a moment and the tool will keep track of the status of that run for me. The interesting piece of this is then also that we can make use of the analytics that comes from this profile to help us drive further runs afterwards. In here, it's going to ask me to type in my SAS Viya URL. So let me grab that real quick. And then I'm gonna tell it that I will type it. And I'll just post that in the chat here. And this deep link is required for it to give me deep links back into my SAS Viya environment. It's asking me specifically here for my URL because the SAS MCP server doesn't leak the URL that is being used to the large language model. So you can be assured that all your credentials are kind of handled behind the scenes, everything stays within the MCP server, and it only gets communicated actual results and UIDs of content, which again enhances trust and governance here. Now I'll give it a second to run and then I'll be right back. Here we are, we got our profiling completed. We can see that it was tagged as private because we have potential PII data in here. And then we also get a deep link into SAS data governance. So let's open it up and take a look at our results here. So while the project is being built behind the scenes. It will trigger off the next phases of its progress bar. We can go in and kind of analyze what is going on here. We can make more of the data for us personally. We can go in and make sure, oh yeah, there is an age column in there, but this is toy data. So we can also go in here and do some additional guidance around how to use this data set. So we can say, yep, this one is approved, all good. We could start to add contacts and tags to it. So really dive into it. And also let's take a look at this data set here by digging into the column profiles, where we can kind of go through and understand things more deeply for ourselves, which is also very important once we get back the analytical results of our models. So let's tap back into Claude Cowork and let's see what it's doing here. There we go. We can see here now training the AutoML champion for us, where it will compare automatically, making use of feature engineering, pre-processing, trying out different algorithms to train an optimal model for us behind the scenes. And again, here we get a deep link back into SAS Model Studio. So let's also open up that one to see the actual assets that are being built here behind the scenes. There is no black box here going on. This is full transparency that allows us to dig into the details as well. We can rerun things, we can then pick them up and modify them ourselves while things are running. And you can see here, this pipeline is being built behind the scenes. So we'll give also Claude a moment to monitor the status, keep us up to date while this project is being built. And then once it's done, we can tap back into things. Here we are. We have a new interesting state here. Champion training is complete. Now locating the champion model and checking whether AutoML auto-publish was enabled for this. And we can see here the champion finished training, but AutoML hasn't auto-published. This is intentional, and we want to human-in-the-loop gate this. Of course, triggering something like a modeling publishing should be something you do very purposefully. So we can go back to our project. Remember, we already have that up. We can also just grab the suggested name here, which I really like. It's great. And let's go back in here. We can see our finished model. We can see it's a forest model. We could then dive into all the results behind this. And of course, we can also go into the pipeline comparison, where we can see all that information in detail as well. From here, we are just going to go ahead and publish our model here. I'm going to pick the mass destination, as we have a built-in tool that enables us to score them through this MCP integration as well. So let's go ahead and click publish here. We here, in essence, are kind of a validator, auditor type person that ensures that the model is of high enough quality, meets robustness standards, and if there is any adjustment needed, we can kind of go in and build off of this created project, adjust things, and kind of dig into the details more. So our publishing has finished here, so we can go back and can say here, I went with your suggestion of, and it is published now. So we can make it go ahead and then hopefully do an initial test for us. Of course, we can see here, it doesn't fully trust us. I mean, fair is fair. I didn't fully trust it either. So it's gonna look for our model here, that it is actually being published. We can also always take a look at these results. It's found in here. It ran a test against it. Now it's going to do another scoring test that worked perfect. And now it's going to create a little scoring cockpit for us where we can play around and experiment with inputs. And really, what we did here is we really only sent one initial prompt that did all the heavy lifting for us. And then we kind of confirmed a couple of pieces. Of course, you can also run Cowork in a way where you have to accept a lot more of its action. I just have it in act mode here. And now you can see we have our nice application. We can score, we can randomize the scoring, like we can now fully interact with this as if it was a real piece. And we can also go into the actual assets. You can see here, it provides us with deep links into data governance and Model Studio. So that was my end-to-end demo of what you can build with the SAS MCP server today.